Small Stories from Life Part 25. Here is the first story, The Running Race and the Lesson of Courage and Confidence. On a sunny spring day, my school held its annual running race, the most anticipated event of the year. Everyone was eagerly awaiting the big prize that Mr. John, who was always famous for his unexpected ideas, would announce. Standing in front of us, Mr. John smiled and said, "Today, you will run on 3 different routes, but you have to choose your own. The first route is the longest and most difficult, but the reward is extremely valuable. The second route is shorter, easier, and the reward is smaller. The third route is very short and easy, and the reward is only an encouragement." I and many other friends quickly chose the second route, not too difficult but still guaranteed to have a reward. Some people chose the third route because they did not want to lose too much energy. Only a few people in the class, with determined eyes, chose the longest route, the most challenging route. The race began. Each group started according to their choice. Those who chose the short route, we were eager to finish first, but only received a modest reward. My group, who chose the second route, also finished with a sense of satisfaction. But the most remarkable thing was that the group of friends chose the most difficult route. Although they finished tired, sweat soaked their shirts, when they stood on the podium to receive their awards, pride was evident in their eyes. Teacher John stepped up, smiled meaningfully, and said, "Children, the lesson here is not just about speed or endurance, but about courage and determination. Those who choose the most difficult path, even if they finish last, have surpassed themselves. That is the real reward." At that moment, I suddenly realized that my safe choice only brought me trivial things. Teacher John's lesson was deeply engraved in my mind. In life, the most difficult path is also the path that leads to the greatest rewards. Only when we dare to face challenges can we truly discover our own strength.
Followed by the second story, 2 Bamboo Trees and the Storm. By the winding green river, 2 young bamboo trees grew up side by side, sharing the gentle sunlight and the cool water. Day by day, they swayed in the wind, talking to each other about their dreams of reaching high into the sky, beyond the clouds. Their lives were peaceful and full of hope. Then one day, the sky suddenly darkened. The wind blew strongly, carrying with it dark clouds signaling an approaching storm. The whole forest began to tremble before the power of nature. The 2 bamboo trees also clearly felt the change, and began to think about how to face the coming storm. The first bamboo tree was afraid. It thought, "I must be steadfast, must stand firm, must not let the wind shake me. If I bend, I will weaken and maybe knock down." With that thought, it tried to brace itself, keeping its body straight in all circumstances, despite the increasingly stronger wind. The second bamboo tree thought differently. It looked up at the grey sky and whispered, "The storm is too strong, I cannot resist its power. Instead of resisting, I will bend with the wind, like a soft stream flowing through all obstacles and still continuing its journey." So, it relaxed its body, swaying with each gust of wind, letting the storm sweep by without ever losing its balance. The storm came, bringing heavy rain and howling wind. The first bamboo tree, strong and resilient, resisted, but each gust of wind seemed to want to tear its body apart. Finally, when it could no longer bear it, the first bamboo tree broke under the pressure of the fierce storm. Meanwhile, the second bamboo tree gently bent, flexible with each gust of wind, but never broke. When the storm passed, it was still standing firmly, towering under the morning sunlight. After the storm, the second bamboo tree looked around and realized that what is not flexible, not adaptable, will eventually break. It understands that strength does not lie in resisting everything, but in the ability to be flexible and adaptable to changes in life. Lesson: sometimes, true strength is not in being tough, but in being flexible and adaptable to difficulties. Only when we know how to bend before the storm can we stand firm and develop, overcoming all challenges in life.
Followed by the third story, the story of the squirrel and the deer. In a dense forest, there lived a nimble squirrel with reddish-brown fur, who lived and jumped on the branches of a high tree. The squirrel lived happily with chestnuts and nuts, but he always looked up to the deer, with his smooth fur and elegant antlers, walking gracefully on the ground. One day, the squirrel felt jealous of the beauty and freedom of the deer. He thought, if I could live like the deer, walking on the ground and drinking water from the stream, I would surely become elegant and admirable. Immediately, the squirrel decided to leave the tree branch, leave his familiar life and rush into life on the ground. But the storms kept coming. The squirrel's steps became awkward, and he had difficulty finding food suitable for the new environment. He could not adapt to life on the ground, and this change began to weaken his health. Although Squirrel tried to adapt, he could not change himself to become deer. Exhaustion and frustration increased, and finally, Squirrel no longer had enough strength to survive. He collapsed by the stream, while Deer continued to live his life, graceful and free. Moral: this story emphasizes that trying to become someone else out of jealousy can lead to failure and hurt. Instead of changing yourself to be like someone else, accept and develop your own strengths and abilities. Confidence and success come from appreciating and developing yourself, not from trying to be someone else.
Followed by the fourth story, followed by the third story, the story of the ancient tree and the seed. One day, a student asked his teacher, "Teacher, how can we know the true value of life?" The teacher gave the student a small seed and said, "Take this seed to the garden, don't plant it, just ask how much it is worth." The student listened and went to the garden. The gardener looked at the seed and said that it was worthless, only worth a few coins. The student returned and told the story. The teacher smiled and said, "Tomorrow, go to the botanical garden and ask again." There, the scientists were very interested. They said that this seed could grow into a large ancient tree, worth hundreds of coins. The student was surprised and told the teacher. The teacher said, "Go to a famous research institute and ask more." The researchers confirmed that this seed could live for hundreds of years and bring countless benefits. They wanted to buy it with the institute's large budget. Surprised, the student asked the teacher, "Why does the value of seeds change in each place?" The teacher said, "Seeds only show their value when placed in the right environment and given time to grow. Life is the same, true value is only revealed when we find the right place to grow." Lesson: the value of life depends on the environment and growth. Be patient to discover your own value.
Followed by the fifth story, the journey of two brothers Min and Hoa, two brothers who grew up amidst the luxury of the city. Min was quiet, immersed in his work, while Hoa was innocent and always curious about the world. Their lives revolved around comfort and material things, but inside Hoa always yearned to learn something deeper. One day, their father decided to take the two brothers to visit their mother's hometown, a small village in the middle of green fields. He wanted his two sons to have the opportunity to experience a different life. Simple but genuine. When they returned to the village, the peaceful scenery, the slowly flowing river, and the starry sky surprised Hoa. There were no noisy sounds of vehicles or tall buildings, only quiet, fresh nature. The two brothers were invited by a hospitable farming family to stay for a few days. Every day, Min and Hoa went with them to the fields, working in the middle of the vast rice fields. Hoa, who was used to luxury items and modern technology, gradually felt the peace of manual labor and the simple beauty of nature. He felt his heart lighten, forgetting the hustle and bustle of the city. In the evening, instead of glued to the phone, the two brothers sat by the fire, listening to fairy tales. Min also began to realize the peace of temporarily putting aside work, immersing himself in the warm, simple but humane atmosphere of the countryside. When returning to the city, Hoa confided to his father, "Dad, I understand. In that village, they don't have the luxuries like ours, but they have a sparkling starry sky. A wide river to play in. I realized that wealth is not in what we own, but in how we live and enjoy every moment." Min also secretly agreed, "We have everything, but lack connection and truly meaningful moments. In the countryside, they have less, but live closely, sincerely and cherish every moment." That trip changed the perspective of both Min and Hoa, helping them understand that the true value of life is not measured by money or material things, but by simple moments of love and sharing. Lesson: true wealth is not in what we own, but in how we cherish love, nature and simple moments with family and loved ones. Thanks for listening. Hello and see you again in Small Stories of Life Part 26.